Good afternoon. My name is Leah Kaiser, and today I will present to you the advocate's case for the death penalty. Today, I will prove that our judicial system's use of the death penalty is an ethical practice. In particular, I would like to speak about two main points that prove to our audience that the death penalty provides safety to those of us in the United States and that the death penalty provides closures to the victims' families. First, it is widely known that the death penalty does provide protection to the people who live in our country from others who commit heinous crimes. However, my opponent on the death penalty case would lead you to conclude that the death penalty does not need to be legal in order to protect the public from violent crime. Instead, my opponent argues that sentencing someone to a life sentence in prison is enough to protect the public. Although my opponent believes this to be true, I instead would argue that the death penalty needs to be in effect because it definitively ends the actions of someone who has proven that they cannot make good and safe decisions. The death penalty has the ability to prevent violent offenders from escaping and causing the same damage or even worse damage than they previously caused. This makes sure that these violent offenders can no longer cause society harm, because eliminating them means eliminating their chance at future crime. Because of the death penalty, we as a public are able to go about our day-to-day lives without fear of a violent action taking place that could have been prevented. Therefore, because of the death penalty and that it ensures we are safe from these violent offenders, it is definitely an ethical practice in our country. Secondly, it is widely known that the death penalty brings closure to the victims' families. Although this is true, my opponent on the death penalty case would argue that the death penalty does not accomplish anything and that it mostly brings on more grief for everyone involved. However, I would argue that the death penalty leads to a sense of an ending of grief for the family of a victim of violent crime, and that it allows them to begin their journey to the acceptance of the death of someone that they loved. The families of victims of these awful crimes tend to go through a lot to convict the offender and receive justice for their loved ones. Because of this, after the death penalty has finally been carried out on the perpetrator, these families are then able to rest knowing that justice was served and that the violent offender can no longer harm anyone else like they previously did. Once the families of the victims are able to receive closure from the death penalty being carried out, they tend to be able to better move on or have more peace about the tragedy. Due to the death penalty providing a sense of an ending or closure to the victims' families, it can be concluded that the death penalty is an ethical practice in the United States. Today, I was able to prove that the death penalty not only provides safety to those of us in society, but also brings closures to the victims of the families of violent crime. Therefore, the death penalty is an ethical practice in the United States. For the reasons stated inside of my argument, I urge you to vote in favor of the advocate's case. Thank you.